My worst nightmare. I bought my first ever brand new car and this is happening. Okay, so now we're in sports mode. So you guys can actually hear, it sounds a little bit more sporty. But now your trunk is not closing, your headlights are not working, the cameras are not working, the computer system says error. I don't know what's going on. And this is actually my first brand new car. Okay guys, so this is the brand new C300 Mercedes 2022. So when I actually bought this car, it came out with the brand new model. So you guys saw it inside, it's the flat screen and it kind of looks like the Tesla, and that's actually why I bought this car. I actually had a red Hyundai Sonata. And of course, my boyfriend Andy was like, you moved to Florida, you need a brand new car. And I looked at so many cars, but of course I fell in love with this one because look at it. It's just so pretty and it's so gorgeous. So I'm gonna show you guys the exterior, the interior, and of course I'm also gonna talk about some things that happened when I first bought it because my car was actually in the shop for the first month after I picked it up. Now, of course, that's like the worst thing you want to hear, especially when you buy a brand new car off the lot. And this is actually my first brand new car and also buying like the first brand new model. So I'm going to tell you guys what happened, but first let's take a look at the actual car. So this car is actually the AMG package, meaning it has a lot of cool features that the regular car does not have. So if you come here and take a look, of course I got all white because we're in Florida and white looks the best. When you look on the hood, you have these like, I don't know what it's called, like these dents, so it looks a little bit more sporty. And of course with the AMG model, you can look at the grille. Of course, there's a Mercedes, and then there's these tiny Mercedes logos, which I absolutely love. And honestly, the grille is one of the reasons why I bought this car. I was looking at other cars like Lexuses, Audis, other Hyundais, and I absolutely hated the grille. So that's why I actually bought this car. You guys can see the lights too. This has LED high performance lights. So at night when you're driving it, it just looks really, really cute and really cool. So also you can see over here, they have the cameras here. So when we go inside, I'm gonna show you guys all the angles of the cameras, which I love, especially when it comes to parking, because your girl, when she backs into parking spots, she needs the cameras, okay? Obviously, there's a camera over here too that you can see. Now, of course, as you guys probably noticed, this is a very like luxury, cute car because I didn't really want a sporty car. So if you're looking for something that's like luxurious, bougie, all the things, this is your car. Now, also with the AMG package, it comes with a black trim. Now, when I was looking at the base models, this was actually silver, I believe. So the silver just didn't look that good. So also up here, you can see the black trim over here. And over here, it comes with a sunroof. So of course, just extra light inside. But then also when you're just driving, you can have a little bit of air coming through the actual car. Also with the AMG model, you get upgraded rims. So this is actually 19-inch tires. And of course, with the rims right here, this design I just fell in love with. There was none of, all the other rims just honestly didn't really look that good. This is the only one that I like. So this is also one of the reasons why I got the AMG package, because of the rims and the 19-inch tires. So guys, this is not the C43. This is the C300 with the AMG package. And this is about 250 horsepower, 0 to 60, it's 6 seconds. So it's not super fast, but it's fast enough for me. So you guys come to the back and see. Over here, I also love how the taillights look. It's a little dirty over here. I just got it cleaned, but of course we're in Florida, so it gets super dirty. But you can see like the lights, super cool. The exhaust down here as well. It's a little bit of a different type of style, which I love, versus just like the pipe exhaust that typically you see on like sports cars. So the back is a little bit more of a rounded style. And of course it also has a spoiler on it. So it gives it kind of that like peppy look, which I like. And I didn't like the old model before they did this refresh. So even when I was looking at my brand new car, of course they came out with this car at the perfect timing when I was looking for a new one. Because I looked at so many on the actual lot and I didn't like any of them. So I actually waited 9 months. I ordered this and I waited 9 months for this to actually come in. And this is a custom order, guys. So I got to choose everything that I wanted. So of course, when it came in, I was so happy. So that's everything for the exterior. So now let's So this is a part hybrid model, so that's why when you actually listen to it, it's really quiet. But of course, still fills up on gas. So you always have to put premium in this car. Okay, so this is the inside of the car. This is the side panel. This has a really smooth leather over here. You have the unlock, the lock, of course, the door handle. Now, this is a little bit different. This is where you actually change the seats. Now, usually, of course, the buttons are down here to change your seats, but they're up here. So that was a little bit of an adjustment. This is where you can put your seats and, of course, save them. So mine is number 1, Andy's is number 2. Over here, of course, are the windows up and down. And this is the dashboard. I absolutely love this screen. And then, of course, this screen over here, which we'll get to in a sec. So this is where the AC and the heat comes from. These move around. So it's a really cool design, which I absolutely love. Over here, it's all the lights. And over here, this is what you use for the windshield wipers. So just like that. Now, something I love about the dashboard is all the different colors and styles you can choose from. So if I'm feeling a little sporty, I can choose this model. And then of course, if I want something a little bit more just like modern and sleek, I can use this model. And this is the wheel. It's honestly so smooth. It has these like indents right here. So when you are driving, it's really comfortable. Of course, you have the horn. And then honestly, all of these buttons, if you're talking on the phone, you can talk to actual Mercedes over here. And then honestly, I've never used these, so I'm not sure exactly what they do, but they're here. So the cameras are absolutely amazing in this car. So if you guys can see, this is the top view of the car. So of course, I just backed in. So if I do this, you guys can actually see the top view of this. If I put it back on park and click on this over here, this is how you get to the cameras. You can see the front view. So this is of course right in front of the car, the rear view. So of course, if I'm backing out, if there's anybody behind me, it'll show me. This is also really cool. This is the side angle. So right now there's actually someone right next to me, so I can see if somebody's over there. Even if I open up my door, it's gonna show me that the door is open. And then if you go to this angle of the car, same thing, you can see it. So overall, the camera on this car, it's amazing. So once again, if you're driving, backing out, you need to parallel park, anything, it really helps you park correctly. So of course, in this car, you also have Apple CarPlay. So of course, if you have an iPhone, you have the map. And honestly, it's the best map. This is not built into the car itself, but anywhere that I'm going, the directions are always amazing. And the screen is really responsive. Obviously, I'm moving this around so you guys can see how fast this is. And then of course you have these 3 vents over here, and this is the passenger seat over here. So these seats are honestly so comfortable. This is the upgraded package. So I believe these are like leather seats. And if you look super close, there's air pockets in all of them because there's ventilation on these seats. So of course, since I live in Florida, this is honestly the best thing because every time I come inside of my car, I put on my ventilated seats. And with the AMG package, we get this cool design over here and over here too. There is, I think, like 3 packages to choose from. And I chose this one because it's honestly like the most sleek version. I think other ones were like harsh lines, which I honestly didn't really love. And then of course over here, it's really bright out right now, but you can see it's all lights. So if we go on here, you can actually change the color to anything you want. And I'm gonna have to show you guys at night how it looks because it is one of my favorite things about this car is I can change the color based on my mood. Now, this is the screen, which is one of the reasons why I bought this car because it reminds me of the Tesla car. Of course, you have all the features here. You can hook up your phone with Apple CarPlay up here. You have your radio, media, apps, store, comfort. Now, if you go under comfort, you can change the seating. And then of course you can also change the ambient lighting. So this is once again, one of my favorite parts, the lighting. I don't know if you guys will be able to see it, but it changes immediately. Oh, you can see it over here a little bit. It's just so sunny right now, but it changes immediately. So I can change it just based on how I'm feeling, my mood, but also I can pick just over here which one I love the best. Now down here, if you click on dynamic, you can change the mode of the car. So with the AMG package, you have 5 different modes. So if we click on this again, you have the eco mode, you have comfort mode, you have sports mode, sports plus mode, and then individual mode. Usually I drive in comfort mode or sports mode, especially if I'm driving like down the interstate or highway. But this is a really cool feature, especially if you want to drive like a little bit faster. And up here is the sunroof. Of course, you can also see the ambient lighting over here, which is so cool. And right over here, so if I want to open it, all I have to do is I actually click on this and this opens the back. And if you swipe that, it opens the moonroof. So usually I have it closed because it's so hot, but it's a cool feature to have in a car. Okay, so this is the back of the car. It's super roomy in here. As you guys can see, there's so much room. Let me get in here. And of course, Now you can see the front. Oh my gosh, look at that shot. So of course over here you have the 2 air vents for the AC. You have this little thing over here where you can put stuff in. And then over here you can see the ambient lighting, and you have the good leather seats over here as well. So if I sit back here, of course you can see the LED lighting, and you can also see the LED lighting on my feet. But super roomy, honestly. This car is really good for road trips. We've taken it to Orlando a few times because it just honestly super comfortable. And honestly, if you look at this from here, it's just so pretty, so gorgeous. I honestly am so in love with this car. Not just because of how it looks, but it also drives really smoothly. So let's take it on a drive. Okay, so now let's take it on a drive. So of course over here, these are where the gear shifting is. So right now we're actually just in comfort mode, which usually I drive in comfort mode because I don't know, I don't like driving super fast. If I'm on the interstate, I will drive in sport mode or sport plus mode. So let's get on the actual road. So the MSRP for the car was around $46,000. So since I got the AMG package with all of the additions with the leather seats, the trim, the tires, everything, it came out to be around $60,000, which honestly isn't so bad. I didn't buy the car outright, so I got a loan and I got locked in at a really good price and a really good percentage. I think is around like 1.8%. So right now my payments are around $700 a month, which honestly, it's not that bad for like a luxury car with insurance. I think my insurance is around $200. So in total, around $900 a month. So if you're looking for like a luxurious car like this, I got the financing locked in at a really good rate. So right now the interest rates are about like 5 to 6%. So I got mine at 1.8. So that's a pretty good rate. So right now we're on the road. I'm going to change it to sports mode to go a little faster. Okay, so now we're in sports mode. So you guys can actually hear it sounds a little bit more sporty. So if I go a little faster, you can hear the engine if I accelerate. So you guys can hear that was a little bit of a big bump, but you guys can hear it sounds a little bit more sporty, of course, since it's in sports mode. So Andy, he actually has a BMW and a Tesla. So in his BMW, it's a lot more bumpy. Like I can really feel the bumps because his is a sports car. In this, you cannot feel anything. And of course in the Tesla you also can't feel anything because it's also a really smooth ride. But for this, I just love it because, you know, if I just want to take it on a drive on the beach or going to the grocery store, out to brunch, anything, I can just get there and it's pretty smooth. So of course I've had this car for 2 years now, and look at the miles. I only have 4,761 miles. I don't drive a whole lot because of course I work from home. So I usually only take my car for like groceries, going to the beach, sometimes, you know, going to the gym, whatever. So I don't have that many miles on it right now. So the inside of this car, it's really comfortable. It's not too big. It's not too wide, as you can see. And I really love the seats, especially when I'm driving. I have like lower back pain. So the seats, they kind of mold into my back, which I love. And of course these, what are these, like bolsters? It really supports like my shoulder. So of course I drive like this a lot, or I drive like this, or sometimes I'll drive like this, but most of the time I'm driving like this. So if this wasn't here, my shoulder and like my tricep or my back area would get really sore. So that's something I really love about the seats. Really comfortable, especially if you're taking the car on like a long road trip. Like what I said before, we always go to Orlando. So we've taken the car to Orlando and it's always a smooth ride. And of course, even the gas mileage is pretty good. From here to Orlando, which is about 2.5 hours, it uses probably like 75% of the tank, which is pretty good. So I have to tell you guys now what happened when I first picked up my car. Honestly, it was the worst experience ever, especially since it was my brand new car. So let's go back home and I'll tell you all the details. Okay, so we're back in here. So obviously, as you guys can see, this car is amazing, but I have to tell you guys about the story of what happened when I actually picked up the car and how it was a complete nightmare for the first like 30 to 60 days owning it. So what actually happened was I picked up the car from Mercedes, I believe on a Friday, And then I went out to brunch with my friend on Saturday. And of course, when I was driving, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. Until I park, turn off the car, go to brunch, come back into my car, and then I see this. The engine light came on, and of course my heart dropped because I had just bought my brand new car, my first ever brand new car, and I'm like, what could possibly be wrong? So of course I take a picture of the engine light, I send it to my sales guy, I'm like, hey, this just came on, like what does that mean? And he's like, oh, don't sweat it, sometimes it just comes on because, you know, something just might be off in like the system since it's a brand new car. Bring it on in, we'll take a look, we'll clear it if there's nothing wrong with it. So of course the last thing I wanted to do was bring it into the shop again. When I just picked it up, of course I go back into the shop, and it turned out the thermostat in the car just did not adapt or set in or register with the system. So they actually had to switch out the entire thermostat. So I asked him, is this something that just happened to my car, or is this something that's been happening to all of like the new models? Because once again, everything that I showed you guys, the screen, the lighting, all the cool features, this is only for the brand new model for the 2022 version. And he's like, oh no, this has actually happened to some of the other models because of course, if you guys didn't know, which I didn't know, all of the brand new models of the cars, there's always some like small bugs because it's brand new and they need some time to basically just iron out all the bugs. So I'm like, okay, no worries. And of course they didn't have the thermostat in the actual shop. So it took a few days for it to come in. But that was not even the worst part. So they bring in the thermostat, get it switched out, and then of course I leave the dealership with my car again, and I'm like, okay, cool, everything is fine, everything is perfect, until this happens. Now, I wanted to get tints on my car because of course it just looks cooler. So after I got my car back, my boyfriend Andy takes my car into the shop to get tints. And like, we always go to this place and they're really good at putting tints on my car. But I'll never forget, Andy gives me a call and he's like, hey, we just finished the tins. It looks amazing, but now your trunk is not closing. Your headlights are not working. The cameras are not working. The computer system says error. I don't know what's going on. So once again, my heart drops and I'm like, okay, did they give me like a lemon of a car? Like this is literally my worst nightmare. I bought my first ever brand new car and this is happening. So I was like, basically, I was literally in tears. I bring the car back into the shop, and what happened was, if you guys are familiar on how you put tints on cars, which once again, I did not know this, I'm not much of a car gal, but what they told me was the back windshield, when they're putting tints on a car, they will sit there with a spray bottle and spray the window in order for the tint to stick. So what happened was the water actually seeped into the trunk, and with the new model of this AMG Mercedes C300, they actually put the electrical unit in the trunk and it was fully exposed. Like honestly, it wasn't even covered. So water got in and basically short-circuited the entire car and I had to get the whole thing replaced. And of course, the first thing I said to them was, why on earth would they put that there when people open the trunk all the time? Rain could come on there. Like it was literally fully exposed. And I'll show you guys here in a sec where that happened. But they're like, oh yeah, like we can't really do anything about it. And of course, guess how much the replacement was? Over $2,000 for that part. So my ass was like, I'm not paying for it because A, they shouldn't have put it there. And B, it was kind of the tint shop's fault because they should be well equipped of new models, you know, new cars. So I went back to the tint shop. I'm like, hey, you guys short-circuited my car because you didn't realize that you were putting water basically in the electrical unit. So long story short, they actually paid to replace whatever broke in my trunk to make sure everything was fine with the car. But my car ended up being in the shop for about like 30 days because of course they didn't have the parts in. It was a brand new model. They had to get it shipped in. So after all of that, I never had to take my car back into the shop. So I want to say, like, overall, I absolutely love this car, but there has been some recalls, especially since it was the brand new model. And of course, like I want to say, like 3 to 6 months later, there was a recall on that electrical unit in the back trunk because apparently a lot of people had short circuit problems with that too. So of course, over here, when they're putting the tints, they were spraying all the spray bottles. And over here, you can see it is actually Like right now it's fully exposed, but in here when they took it apart, the electrical unit was just sitting in here. There was no compartment. So after they did the recall, they actually covered it up. So now of course you can't see it, but before I could literally look in here and see all the electrical units. So once again, I don't know why they put it back here, but they did have a recall on it, so they fixed it hopefully with all of the new versions. So aside from those like few bumps and hiccups in the beginning after picking up my car, I honestly love this car. After having it for 2 years, it's honestly like I just love getting in here, going on a drive, going to brunch, and honestly just feeling good. Of course, I'm a content creator, so having a nice car absolutely matters. But 4 years ago when I moved to Florida, I was in my red Hyundai, and of course after growing, scaling my business, you know, just honestly blowing up every part of my life, I had to treat myself with a brand new car because it's always been one of my dreams. Growing up, my dad would always take us to the car dealership and always buy used cars off the lot. So buying my first brand new car, having it be the C300 Mercedes with the brand new model, even after the hiccups, I absolutely love it. So I highly recommend it if you want to buy the C300. I'm sure even the brand new model is even better, but the 2022 version is absolutely amazing. So if you guys love this video, make sure to hit like, comment below your thoughts. Let me know if you have a Mercedes, if you love it, if you don't, and if you're planning to buy one, let me know what you think about it. So that's all for today. I love you guys so much, and until the next video, make sure that you stay unforgettable.